Hey everyone, it's been a year since I quit teaching, and I think teaching was trying to kill me. That's right, after quitting teaching for a year, it's been a year since I have been in the classroom, and I really think it was trying to kill me. I've got 7 things today, but I think, wow, I haven't had to deal with any of that in the past year. The first one was I never had enough sleep. The school I was at started really early, started at 7 o'clock in the morning, and which means you had to be up at like 5:30 in the morning to be able to get up and get dressed and get there and get ready for the day. And yeah, and so we got out early, but it just never felt like I could get enough sleep. I was getting ready for bed at like 8:30 and 9 o'clock. I felt like a 10-year-old. So that was one thing, and I really did try and get a lot of sleep. The next thing kind of ties to it is that working so hard every single day, I was too tired at the end of the day to work out. And so I was never getting enough exercise in my life. Now, I know you guys are saying, well, that's what jobs are and that's what jobs do. Yeah, I know. And I see a lot of jobs out there, and I've seen a lot of people doing jobs, and there's a lot of times where maybe you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You have times where it's super busy and then not so busy, or times that there's going to be a rush and then not, a break. In teaching, it's never that way. It's go, start the class, get them going, okay, maybe a little bit of work time, okay, next class. And it's just kind of a cycle like that, but it's never enough where you can actually go sit down, maybe get a cup of coffee. You have a planning period, but it's so short. By the time you're done with your planning period, it's already gone. You haven't had time to rest. It's more for, let me catch my breath, get ready for the next things that are coming. The next thing that I have, besides being extra tired all the time, is you have limited access to things like, and this is going to be kind of, the restroom. You can't just leave your classroom. And so there were times where you would, like in the afternoons after lunch, I wouldn't drink a whole lot because I wouldn't have a planning period. I couldn't just run to the restroom because you're not allowed to leave your room full of kids. And in many cases, I didn't want to leave the room full of kids because I didn't want them destroying stuff or hurting things or just doing stupid stuff. Now, mind you, they weren't bad kids usually, but some of them didn't always make the best decisions. And so, hey, opportunity when the teacher leaves, let's go do something, okay? And so that was never good. So I was just never keeping my body well hydrated. And just because I couldn't go to the bathroom. Isn't that sad? And I'm not the only teacher that deals with this. This is a very common teacher problem. During the summer, you get back on track, but then there's those 9 months where you're really just abusing your body. Number 4 is I have Raynaud's, where the fingers turn white and loosen, feeling. They basically, the blood flow doesn't go to your fingertips. It's a very common problem, especially for women. And in the classroom, I was constantly having trouble. I was constantly, what I say, reacting to the cold environment. The classroom was never warm. It was tepid at best. And so I would, start to react, and I'd try and warm them up. I had hand warmers. I had gloves I would wear. There'd be times in the hallway I'd have my gloves on, and the principal would walk by. It's like, oh, you got your gloves on today. I'm like, yeah, I got my gloves on today because it's freaking cold in there. And I'd say, hey, can we do something about this? This is really cold. And in my classroom, I actually had 2 classrooms. Kind of. There's a door between the 2 because there was a studio area where we could do and make things, and then there's the computer lab. It's kind of hard to do and make things when there's computers on all your tables. And so one room would be one temperature, and you would literally walk through a door that was, shared a wall, and it would be a 2 or 3 degree difference, and it would be very noticeable. You're like, really, 2 or 3 degrees? Well, have you ever done 68 to like 72? Yeah, there's a big difference between 68 and 72. And so the guys would come out from the service center, and they'd have that little temperature gun, and they'd point it at stuff, and yep, it says it's the right one. You're not allowed to change it. That's right. In my classroom, I was not allowed to change the temperature at all. When I first started teaching, you're allowed to change it a couple of degrees. They kind of said, okay, the median is going to be 70. You can go up or down 2 degrees, and that's it. After a while, they said, no, you can't do that either. And the building is controlled by a heater, and not a heater, really, it's a boiler. A boiler that's like half the size of the wizard's shop. It is massive, controlling everything for the building. And so I don't know how it's pumping out warm air to air, and you'd never feel warm air. The kids who sat in their ceiling pushed down, kids who sat under those were constantly cold. They'd be looking up there and it was just constantly blowing. I guess sometimes it would be warmer air, sometimes it would be cooler air. I don't know. But it was constantly blowing. So all the time. And there was rarely, I mean, maybe once a week, it actually turned off and it was silent. And the kids, everybody would just go, oh. Not having this constant droning, always going. It really weared on you. So in addition to my rain outs constantly reacting, having that sound going as well and always being cold, you always have a jacket there, you always wore on layers. Another thing I had, and this was a gift from my mother, is a sinus issue where your eustachian tube gets clogged. It's kind of gross, but it gets clogged. And normally it can drain out, or I can sit here and kind of rub it, or maybe like chew some gum or something. In this year, being out of the classroom, I have had like 1 or 2 episodes of that. And it's not really episodes, it's just kind of times it's clogged. That's it. And one of them was just recently because of the weather, allergies. When I was teaching, it was several times a week. And it's really annoying. It's kind of like, plugging your ears and unplugging them and plugging your ears and unplugging them, and you hear yourself talk back and forth and back and forth. It was really annoying. And I think it had something to do with the pressure in the room, all that fan blowing. It was like, oh, now that I don't have that, I'm not in a space that's like that, I don't have that trouble. So it's okay, it wasn't killing me, but good grief, it was enough to drive somebody insane. Which is the next one, stress. And you're like, everything has stress. Yeah, it does. And you look at some of those articles on the internet that say, how do you live longer? Well, they say, get enough sleep, make sure you're drinking your fluids, get your exercise, keep your mind sharp, and don't have too much stress. Yeah, and teaching has a lot of stress between, am I going to say the right thing? Back when I first started teaching, I never thought of that. But recently, if you happen to say just the wrong phrase in any capacity, any slight word that some kid doesn't like, going to the office. This teacher said something, I did not agree with that, I'm going to the office. Or I'm going to go tell my parents, and my parents are going to come and talk to the administration. I've never really got in trouble when I was teaching, but one of the assistant principals did ask me to come to her office because one of the kids who was really acting out in class, I called him into the hallway and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? This is a high school situation, mind you, high school. He was a junior. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? She said, you can't say hell. Bart Simpson says hell, and he has since the 1990s. Yeah, he was just trying to get me into trouble. Obviously, he was on a very short leash after that. He was, no extra accommodations for him, no being extra nice to him. Nope, I taught him, and that was it. Usually I like to try and get to know kids, kind of, have a rapport with them. No, that was it. Because I said, hell, to a high school student. Yeah. No, that would be one thing if I was teaching kindergartners. I know that. But this was a high school kid. He obviously has a vocabulary far more colorful than HE double hockey sticks. Exactly. The other thing is that teaching that was really taxing and goes with the stress is being overworked. Now, as an art teacher, I had the expendable job. I knew that. I knew that, if they're going to cut a position, we're going to cut English, math, or the art teacher. Yeah, we're going to cut the art teacher. I knew that. And so my dad, many years ago when I first started teaching, said, make sure you're indispensable. Okay. And I took that to heart. I did extra things for the school, maybe some graphic design work, some other items to make sure that, hey, between the 2 art teachers, not that I'm wanting someone in my department to have left, we can't let Mrs. Wizard go because, she does all of this and this and this and this for the school. Oh, this other one, she doesn't really do as much. Yeah. So I made sure I was indispensable, but unfortunately, they're like, Jenny could do it. Jenny can do that. Hey, maybe we should ask her to do that. And so, and I don't mind helping with things. I really liked doing some of the items I did, the extra items, like making the graduation book. And we always had a book that had the kids' names in there with their pictures, and the program was on there. It was a fun book, and it was nice to make. And I liked that because I was thinking, gosh, I'm making a gift for every kid, every senior in my high school. I liked that. But then they're like, oh, well, they need tickets now to go. So can you design a ticket? Oh, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And then, you're like, wait. I literally constantly felt like the water was right here. I'd be able to get up and back underwater again, work. Yeah. So you wonder why teachers are tired and teachers are burning out. This is why. I imagine many of you that are teachers and watching this are going to say, except for the Raynaud's and the sinus problems, but you have other medical issues that you probably are dealing with that the school just can't accommodate and won't accommodate for, even though they probably should. But you're going to come back and say, oh yeah, I never had enough sleep. I was always too tired, even to go walk around the block. I was just too tired by the end of the day. You were just mentally exhausted. Yeah. So this is what I found after my year of not being in the classroom, that I think I'm glad I'm not there anymore, because I'm so much happier and healthier than I was then. So, hey, guys, you guys were able to join me today. I'll catch you next week. See ya.